6:15. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is a news edited by Lakshman Fonseca and read by J. Yogaraj. First, the headlines. A former Royal Australian Air Force Beechcraft KA-350 gifted to Sri Lanka. The government has taken measures to minimize delays in the customs procedures. The Irrigation Department warns of a minor flood situation in low-lying areas. Trade Minister announces that the price of milk powder will be reduced from tomorrow. Agriculture officials emphasize that at least 6 or 7 cows are stolen every night in any given district. Deadly cyclone Mocha hits Bangladesh and Myanmar coast, and those are the headlines. A former Royal Australian Air Force Beechcraft KA-350 King aircraft gifted to the Sri Lankan government by the Australian government. Australian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka Paul Stephens met President Ranil Wickremesinghe on Friday and handed over a letter from Australia's Minister of Foreign Affairs Claire O'Neill, formally offering the gift. The President's media division reported that the twin-engine turboprop aircraft will be given to the island nation to be used to enhance Sri Lanka's sovereign aerial maritime surveillance capability. Australian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka said the aircraft will strengthen Sri Lanka's ability to protect its maritime security. It is a further demonstration of close collaboration in combating transnational crime, he added. The government has taken measures to minimize delays in the Customs Department. Addressing the media after a function held in Ruanwell area, State Minister Ranjit Siamalapitiya said there will be no such incidents in customs hereafter, and he said for the officials who delay custom duties will be penalized. The Irrigation Department warns of a minor flood situation in low-lying areas of the Nilwala River Valley in Kotopala, Pithapathura, Akurasa, Athurelia, Malimbada, Tiagoda, Mathara and Divinura Divisional Secretariat divisions. Residents in these areas are requested to be aware and take adequate precautions. The department specially advises the drivers running in the areas to be vigilant over the issue and take prompt actions to take measures to avoid from hazard. Meanwhile, the Met Department says in an advisory note that heavy showers above 100 millimeters are expected at some places in the southern province and in Ratnapura district. This news comes to you from Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Digital accounts can now be opened in 10 minutes. People's Bank Digital Banking, your ultimate convenience.
Trade Minister Nalin Fernando announces that the price of milk powder will be reduced by 200 rupees per kilo from tomorrow. The minister said that the decision was made in order to provide relief to the people. Accordingly, the price of a new price of a 1 kilogram packet of imported milk powder will be 2,900 rupees. The price of a 400 gram packet of imported milk powder has been reduced by 80 rupees with the new price of 1,160. Meanwhile, the importers said that they have taken measures to provide milk powder at the reduced rate for the customers in the Western Province initially. They added it will take a few more days to amend the price due to delay in shipments. Provincial agricultural officials emphasize that at least 6 or 7 cows are stolen every night in any given district. It is reported that the cows produce between 15 to 30 litres of milk per day, and it has been reported that at least between 35 to 40 cows are stolen every month in Kampar district alone. In order to find a solution for the issue, a special discussion was held recently chaired by Agriculture Minister Mahinda Amravira. During the discussion, officials of the Provincial Agriculture Department presented facts regarding the increase in cattle theft. In this discussion, it was also revealed that the people coming in luxury vans are stealing cows tied from cow sheds at night. Agricultural authorities also noted that there has been an increase in the number of cattle thefts reported from other parts of the country too. Minister Amravira instructed police to take immediate measures to help farmers to protect their cows. And that's local news.
Now, People's Bank Digital Banking enables you to make your pawning payments through People's Bank self-banking unit any time of the day. People's Bank Digital Banking, your ultimate convenience.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
A former Royal Australian Air Force Beechcraft KA-350 King aircraft gifted to the Sri Lankan government by the Australian government. Australian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Paul Stephens, met President Ranil Wickremesinghe on Friday and handed over a letter from Australia's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Claire O'Neill, formally offering the gift. The President's media division reported that twin-engine turbopropped aircraft will be given to the island nation to be used to enhance Sri Lanka's sovereign aerial maritime surveillance capability. And that came to you in Top News.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
In Washlight, a tight security cover has been placed around the University of Colombo, fort and golf face following intelligence reports of an anti-government group trying to create disturbances. Police spokesman Nihal Thaldua said the steps have been taken as a precautionary measure. SSP Thaldua said the security measures would remain until further notice, and that came to you in Washlight. And moving on to world news. Headlines: Israel-Palestinian militants agree on ceasefire as tension persists. G7 science ministers agree on open science, raise concern over data misuse. Deadly cyclone hits Bangladesh and Myanmar coast. And those are the headlines of the world news. Israel and Palestinian militant group have agreed to an Egypt-brokered ceasefire after dozens of people were killed since the Tuesday. The fighting was triggered by Israeli airstrikes on the Gaza Strip. The militants responded with rocket attacks, and Israel carried out more air raids. At least 33 Palestinians, including 6 children, as well as 1 Israeli, were killed. Despite the ceasefire agreement, the Palestinian militants remain poised to resume attacks in response to what Israel might do. The group of 7 science ministers have confirmed that they will promote research data openness among countries. The officials approved a joint statement on Saturday on their second day of talks in the northeastern Japanese city of Sendai. It said that the countries will promote open science in which researchers around the world share each country's research data and academic papers. But the statement expressed concern that some actors may attempt to unfairly exploit or distort the open research environment and misappropriate research results for military purposes. A powerful cyclone is hitting the coastlines of Bangladesh and Myanmar after intensifying into the equivalent of a Category 5 storm. Cyclone Mocha is bringing heavy rain and winds up to 195 kilometers per hour. Storms surges of up to 4 meters could swamp villages in low-lying areas. Forecasters warned Cyclone Mocha could be the most powerful storm seen in Bangladesh in nearly 2 decades, and around 500,000 people have been evacuated to safer places. And that's world news. Development news. The Minister of Agriculture, Mahinda Ambaravira, has instructed the officials to intervene to provide low-interest loans to the youth community who are willing to engage in agricultural activities. The loan scheme will be launched by the state banks. Under this scheme, a program was started to grant loans of 1 million and 2 million rupees at a minimum interest rate of 6.5% to 50 young people in Hambantota district. And that was development news.
Go youth life.
The finals of inaugural National Youth Wushu Championship began today. The matches are now being held at the National Youth Sports Council indoor courts in Maharagama. The tournament will end on May 17th. The National Youth Wushu Championship, which was held after a lapse of 12 years, covered the entire island and was held from February regionally before reaching the national stage. And that was sports news.
Go youth life change niyamata setna aswagena dakpuina habakarana youth niyamata setna friendship ekamenna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
A program to convert petrol-powered 3-wheelers to electric power commenced. 200 3-wheelers were selected for the pilot project under financial grant of the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena and UNDP resident representative for Sri Lanka, Asusa Kubota, travelled in a three-wheeler converted to use electric power during the event. And that was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හින හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Moving on to economic news, Sri Lanka migrant workers' foreign remittances for April 2023 were recorded at $454 million. The Minister of Labour and Foreign Employment, Manisha Nanekara, says that it was an 83.4% increase compared to April 2022, and this was at the peak of the country's economic crisis when there were calls for expat workers not to remit money through official channels to Sri Lanka. The minister said that the total remittances through official banking channels so far this year had increased to $1,867 million. And that was economic news.
Weather report.
The Met Department says, or rather warns, extremely severe cyclonic storm Mocha over east central Bay of Bengal at 5:30 a.m. today. It is likely to move northeastwards and across southeast Bangladesh and North Myanmar coast around noon of 14th May. Naval and fishing communities are advised not to venture into the sea areas until further notice. Naval and fishing communities are requested to be vigilant while engaging in fishing and naval activities in the area around the island. Naval and fishing communities are also requested to be attentive to future forecasts issued by the Met Department in this regard. And that was the weather report. To wind up this news broadcast, let's look at the main points once again. A former Royal Australian Air Force Beechcraft KA-350 gifted to Sri Lanka. The government has taken measures to minimize delays in the custom procedures. The Irrigation Department warns of a minor flood situation in low-lying areas. Trade Minister announces that the price of milk powder will be reduced from tomorrow. Agriculture officials emphasize that at least 6 or 7 cows are stolen every night in any given district. And with that, we conclude this evening news podcast of Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.